Each year, countless people across the globe report unsettling encounters with mysterious figures that defy easy explanation. They appear suddenly, often in quiet towns, backroads, or even at the very doorstep of ordinary homes. Some claim they are human. Others insist they are something far stranger. One of the most chilling and persistent legends to emerge in recent decades is that of the black-eyed children. They come at night, asking for entry. They look like kids, but there is something inhuman in their presence. For more than 3 decades, reports of these beings have surfaced again and again, each story more disturbing than the last. What exactly are the black-eyed children? The legend of the black-eyed children does not come from distant folklore or centuries-old myths. Unlike creatures rooted in Native American tales or colonial legends, these beings are frighteningly modern. The first widely circulated case emerged in the 1990s, though some researchers insist earlier sightings exist. What makes the accounts particularly disturbing is how ordinary they begin, and how quickly they twist into something terrifying. It always starts the same way, a knock at the door. Witnesses describe hearing it late at night, sometimes just past midnight. They open the door expecting a neighbor, a lost traveler, or even an emergency. Instead, they find 1 or 2 children standing outside. They look normal at first glance, boys or girls between the ages of 6 and 16. But the details quickly unravel the illusion. Their clothes are outdated or ill-fitting. Their voices are unnaturally calm, rehearsed, as though they are reading from a script. And then, most terrifying of all, when they finally lift their gaze, their eyes are solid black. No white, no color. Just endless, predatory void. Despite the unnatural appearance, the children do not attempt to force their way inside. Instead, they ask politely, sometimes desperately, for permission to enter. They claim they need to use the phone, that they are lost, that they are cold. Witnesses describe an overwhelming sense of dread, as though every instinct in their body screams not to let them in. Those who resist are left shaken, their nights ruined by nightmares and paranoia. Those who claim to have let the children in, their stories are far darker. The first major documented case came from Brian Bethel, a respected journalist in Abilene, Texas. In 1996, Bethel parked outside a movie theater late at night to write a check. As he sat under the glow of a nearby street lamp, 2 boys approached his car. One was around 12 years old, the other slightly younger. They asked him for a ride, explaining that they had forgotten money at home and wanted to see a film. Bethel recalled feeling an unnatural fear sweep over him the moment they spoke. Something about their voices seemed rehearsed, hollow. As the conversation dragged on, he noticed their eyes, completely black. No pupils, no whites. Just obsidian voids reflecting the theater lights. His panic surged. When he made excuses to leave, the older boy grew insistent, his voice sharpening as he repeated, "You have to let us in." At that moment, Bethel threw his car into reverse and sped off. He would later write that even after decades of reporting on strange phenomena, nothing had ever left him so shaken. Over time, more stories surfaced. Families claimed to hear knocking late at night only to find 2 children waiting outside, their faces pale, their eyes hidden beneath shadows. Drivers on desolate highways reported seeing young figures standing by the roadside, their black eyes visible in the reflection of headlights. In one case, a couple in Vermont said 2 children appeared at their rural home during a snowstorm. When invited inside, the children sat silently at the kitchen table, their expressions blank, their eyes covered by dark hoods. Moments later, the husband began to nosebleed uncontrollably. The couple's cats hissed and hid. The wife claimed that when the children finally stood to leave, she felt the house grow unnaturally cold, as though the heat itself had been drained away. Skeptics argue these tales are nothing more than urban legend, fueled by internet forums and late-night storytelling. But others point out that too many accounts share the same details not easily invented by chance. Always 2 or 3 children. Always the same eerie calm. Always the request for entry. And always those eyes. What makes the phenomenon even more chilling is its refusal to fade. Unlike passing fads or hoaxes, black-eyed children encounters continue to this day. In fact, modern reports have expanded beyond homes and cars. People claim to see them in shopping centers, gas stations, even inside office buildings. They always appear where they should not be. They always make demands that feel rehearsed. And they always vanish as suddenly as they arrive. But what are they? Some researchers believe they are a form of psychic predator, beings that feed not on flesh, but on fear. The black eyes, they argue, are a sign of their inhuman nature, like windows into a void designed to unnerve. Others believe they are demonic in origin, pointing to the traditional vampire-like rule that they must be invited inside. Indeed, in every credible account, the children never force entry. They wait, patient and unblinking, until the victim either complies or slams the door. There are also those who link the phenomenon to extraterrestrials. The resemblance to gray aliens, small frames, oversized heads, emotionless faces, is striking. Could these children be a hybrid, a cross between human and alien, left to walk among us? Theories abound, but none satisfyingly explain the sheer terror reported by witnesses. What is perhaps most disturbing is the suggestion that letting them in may have irreversible consequences. While no confirmed fatalities are tied to the encounters, witnesses who allegedly allowed the children inside often report health problems soon after. Migraines, nausea, unexplained nosebleeds. In one case, a man developed aggressive skin cancer weeks after his encounter. While coincidence cannot be ruled out, believers insist these outcomes are evidence of the children's draining, corrupting influence. One chilling account came from an elderly couple in rural Oklahoma. In 2009, during a thunderstorm, they heard knocking at their door. Standing outside were two children, a boy and girl, drenched in rain. They asked to come inside to wait until the storm passed. Against their instincts, the couple agreed. Minutes later, the husband's nose began to bleed heavily, and the power in the house flickered out. When the children left, walking calmly into the rain without umbrellas, the couple claimed the power returned instantly. Weeks later, the husband collapsed from a sudden heart attack. Skeptics dismiss this as fabricated tragedy, but believers hold it as proof of something darker, evidence that the black-eyed children are not merely seeking shelter, but something far more sinister. The phenomenon has spread beyond America. Reports have emerged from the UK, Canada, Australia, and even Japan. In each case, the story repeats with unnerving similarity. Pale children, black eyes, a request for entry, the same overwhelming sense of dread. So what does science say? Psychologists suggest these encounters may be the result of sleep paralysis or hypnagogic hallucinations, visions experienced on the edge of sleep. Others believe the stories are an urban legend amplified by the internet, passed along in forums until they became real in people's minds. But critics of this theory ask a simple question. How can people who have never met, from different countries and cultures, all describe the exact same entity? Some folklorists argue that the black-eyed children are a modern incarnation of an old archetype, the stranger who must be invited in. Vampires, demons, fae, all share this mythic restriction. Perhaps the legend has simply adapted for a new era, clothed in the familiar innocence of children. After all, what figure would disarm us faster than a child asking for help? But if the black-eyed children are indeed only myth, why do the witnesses never laugh about their encounters afterward? Why, decades later, do they still recount their experiences with trembling voices and haunted eyes? The black-eyed children remain one of the most unnerving mysteries of modern folklore. They appear without warning. They vanish without a trace. They do not attack outright, yet their presence leaves devastation in its wake. Perhaps they are demons. Perhaps they are interdimensional travelers. Perhaps they are nothing more than a shared hallucination born of cultural fear. But one thing is certain, if you hear knocking late at night, and you find children waiting silently at your door, children whose eyes are nothing but black voids, whatever you do, do not let them in.